Okay. Thank you, Dr. Tilly.
Oh, it was LaShonda.
Oh,
Really.
LaShonda. Oh, that's
Uh-huh.
in the chat, huh? Okay. Thank you,
Uh-huh.
LaShonda. I am so happy that this is my village. Everybody's on the line that's going to help support Bones and Balance as we share this important information because it is very important for um, the mission of Bones and Balance. And I've been talking about Bones and Balance for a very long time. And if you check out our website, which is bones-in-balance.com. There's more information about how this all came to be. So this really is a dream come true, and our mission at Bones and Balance is to empower individuals just like you to achieve healthy bones and vibrant lives. And our vision is better health for all. So we thank you for joining us tonight. And our presentation, as was displayed earlier, is ways to prevent falls and improve balance. As I mentioned before, September is Falls Prevention Month. It's also sickle cell anemia awareness month, Alzheimer's month. So I've just been busy this past few days attending all of these different events. But I'm real excited tonight because we get an opportunity to talk about bones. And so the flyer that we sent out, there was a question as to whether sitting weakens the bones, and the answer to that is yes. The World Health Association identifies physical inactivity as a major risk factor for poor bone health. Sitting actually reduces bone density, which reduces your strength, leads to muscle weakness, and also causes joint stiffness and limits mobility. So tonight we have a little twist to it in terms of the actual connection of reflexology and bone health. So the next slide, please. Njadika, who is a visionary creator of Focus on Healing, and my teacher, who taught me all about reflexology over what, a quarter century ago, like 20 plus years. So I've invited Njadika to share with us the connection between reflexology and bone health. And we know that together we're going to really explore how stimulating Pacific nerve reflex points can support stronger bones and enhance our overall stability. So with that, I'll turn the presentation over to Njadika.
Greetings. How is everyone?
Greetings, love.
Good.
We good. I
Very
am.
good.
All right. Reflexology. So, have you all heard about reflexology?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, we're talking about when usually the questions is asked, what is reflexology? And it's a therapeutic practice that involves applying pressure to specific nerve ending points on the feet, hands, or ears to stimulate corresponding body systems. And by that, what is meant is if you ever look at a chart of the nervous system, you'll see how all the nerve endings, they start in your head and run straight through your body, ending in your hands and feet. And so when we're doing reflexology, we are stimulating those nerve endings that sends a message to the brain through, which is known as your communication center. Now, how does reflexology support bone health? It improves blood circulation to nourish muscles and joints for maintaining mobility and preventing stiffness and pain. And that's very important because one of the things that when you're talking about reflexology and its connection with the bones, understand that your feet are your body's foundation. So,
Mm.
in terms of the strength of your body, in terms of the overall operation of your body, it begins in your feet.
Mhm.
Now, what are the benefits of reflexology for fall prevention? It enhances balance and mobility. Reflexology can improve the nerve function and muscle coordination that aids in better balance. So what we're talking here, we're talking about the connection between the muscular skeletal system and the nervous system. And by that, we're talking about the communication, because your communication center is your brain. And the way the message gets to the brain is through the nerve endings. So with reflexology, we are stimulating those nerve endings, delivering a message that can improve muscle coordination as well as providing balance to the body. Reflexology alleviates pain and discomfort. It helps manage pain associated with conditions like arthritis, making movement easier and safer. We're talking about, when we're relating it to joint health. Usually when you're talking about the musculoskeletal system, you're talking about the bones and the muscles, but the nerves play a big role in this. And so when you're talking about the nervous system, you're talking about bringing about relaxation, relaxing the body. So that way it can be able to be in a position to be about healing, assisting in the
I
process.
thought I recently bought some chicken noodle and clam chowder.
It also promotes relaxation. It reduces anxiety and promotes relaxation, which can prevent muscle tightness and improve overall stability. So in essence, what we're talking about as it relates to fall prevention is the connection between the nervous system and the musculoskeletal system, which plays a big role in preventing falls. Reflexology's role in supporting bone health. It improves circulation, which enhances blood flow, aiding in nutrient delivery and bone repair. Reflexology reduces stress and tension, promotes relaxation, which can alleviate muscle tension and improve posture, reducing the strain on the bones. It's a pain relief. It helps manage pain from conditions like arthritis, making movement easier and safer for the bones. It enhances balance and mobility by stimulating nerve function, improving coordination and stability, which supports bone health and reduces fall risk. Now, let's look at some reflexology points for balance. When we look at the chart that's showing the feet, what you'll see is where you see the blue arrows on the feet, which is on the side, the baby toe side of the foot. It's starting from the midsection all the way down right before you get to the heel. That's where you will find the nerve endings to your hip, thigh, your knee, your shin, and your foot. So that's the nerve endings on the feet for your leg points. On the hands, the leg points are found right underneath your fingers. From your baby finger to your ring finger is where you will find the reflex points for the thigh, the knee, the shin, and the feet. We also look at another important point for balance is the spine. And your spine you will find on your thumb. So it goes from underneath your nail all the way down to your wrist. And then on the side of your wrist is the sciatic. So that is the spine point that's on your hands that supports balance. And on your foot, it will be on the side of your big toe, from the base of your big toe all the way down to your heel area is where you will find the spine and the sciatic. The next point that's very important is dealing with the solar plex. The solar plex is in the middle of your toe, in the ball of your foot, and it's in the middle of your hand on the palm. So these are some real reflex points you want to remember as it relates to balance and reflexology. Now, to integrate reflexology into your daily routine, you want to perform reflexology before or after exercise to enhance the muscles and joint functions. And just like I said when I showed you, if you all will hold up your hand and look at your thumb, look at the outside of your thumb. I don't know if can you see my hand? I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
But okay, if you could see my hand right here on your thumb, this area right here is your spine. And you see here, I'm going to show my thumb here. And what you're going to do with your thumb on your thumb, you're going to take your thumb and do like a walking motion. It's like inching. You're going to inch up your thumb, and this is to alleviate and activate the spinal nerve ending for balance. So that's what you do, and that's how you work the spine on your hand. So you do the side of your thumb that goes all the way up right to the base of your thumb underneath your nail, and you just do like a walking motion. For your hands, right here from your third finger all the way to your baby finger. I'm a little small ways back, if you can see that. This area right here is where you will find your hands and your feet. It's in this area here, and you do the same thing. You do take your thumb and do like a walking motion. And that right there is definitely to help with balancing as it relates to bone health and where you find that nerve ending. And for the solar plex, you'll find it right here in the fatty area of your hand. And all you do is take your thumb and press in and do like a circular motion here. And those are some key reflexology tip points in terms of relating to bone health and how you can activate your nerve endings. So I'm going to turn it back over to Alma.
Okay, so before we proceed, I know that that was quite a bit of information, and I'm just going to open it up for questions just in case someone has
Sure.
questions before we move on to the very next slide. So,
Excellent.
does anyone have
I
questions?
have a question.
Okay.
Sure.
I do. Would those exercises just help with balance in general, and it doesn't matter which hand you massage?
Okay. First, I got to correct something. Reflexology is not massage. And the
Pressure.
reason being is because
Pressure.
massage works the muscular system and muscle. It works with the muscles.
Okay.
Reflexology works with the nervous
The
system
nerve.
and the nerve endings.
Hold
Now,
on 1 second, please. Can you guys put your phone on mute if you're not speaking? I'm sorry, Angelica, go ahead.
no problem. And the reason why I'm saying that to clarify, because a lot of people, when you see somebody working on the hands and the feet, you automatically think about massage. We are kin to each other, but we're not the same. So when you think of reflexology, think of the nervous system. When you think of massage, think of the muscular system as it relates. Now, to answer your question, these points, the points that I showed you, you can do them on both hands. It doesn't matter which hand. It's best to do it on both hands. And the walking technique is to stimulate that nerve, and especially if you're dealing with problems that's relating to balance, that's relating to stability, or relating to any kind of pain that you may be feeling in the bone area, pain that you may be feeling related to bone health. Those are the areas that you would work. Did that answer your question?
Definitely. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Any other questions?
So I'll make a comment as well, like what Angelica was actually demonstrating was the hands, but it's the same thing in terms of your feet.
Yes, it's the same. With the diagram, let me go back and I'll Let me see if I can go back. Okay. With the feet, that's say you see this area right here, you do the same walking motion. This is the side. It'll be underneath the baby toe side from the midsection of the foot all the way down right before you get to the heel. That would be the area that you work on the feet as it relates to stimulating the nerve ending.
What do you mean by walking motion?
Okay, this right here, can you see my thumb?
Yeah, kind of. It might be too close. Move
Okay,
to
back. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, you see my thumb? This right here is called walking. When I bend my thumb like this,
Uh-huh.
and all we're doing is we're walking it
Ah.
on that area. So that's what we call the walking technique.
Moving, just like you're moving your feet or moving your hands.
So it's think about like you're inching, you're using your thumb to inch up
Okay.
your thumb. It's an inching. We call it walking. But
Okay.
it's inching, it's
And
inching
how
motion.
much pressure are you exerting?
You want to exert firm pressure, but pressure so that you're not feeling any pain with it, but it should be firm.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So one other thing I wanted you to cover in Jadika is I know that you use in your practice a lot, and I do too, in terms of reducing stress in the body. Oftentimes people have pain, and as a result of pain, they can have a problem with their balance. Can you speak to that in terms of using reflexology as a tool to reduce pain?
Excellent question. When we talk about reflexology as it relates to pain, I'm going to give you a little secret that you can actually do right now. When we talk about pain, what we're talking about again is activating the nerve endings to send a message to the brain to release the body's natural painkillers, which let me correct myself, to release the body's natural pain relievers. I don't like the word killing. To release the body's natural pain relievers. And when we do that, what we're talking about releasing endorphins, which you have that relieves pain, which has the same chemical composition as pain medication. That's the difference. Your body has the mechanism to relieve its own pain when stressed, because by stimulating the nerve ending in your hands or feet, you send a message to the brain. The body's in pain. And when your body's in pain, what's the first thing you'll normally do? You will touch it. So when you touch it, the next thing you normally do is you start rubbing it. So when you rub it, the message goes to the brain, release the body's natural pain reliever. And that's the same process that we use in reflexology. And so what I want to share with you, if you are ever experiencing any pain for any type of situation that may be affecting your body, on your hand, just use your thumb and just start walking the palm of your hand. It doesn't matter where, but just walk, because what that does is that releases endorphins and starts the process of calming you down and calming the body area that's in stress. So just getting out, and you can just do that whenever you're feeling anxiety or any type of thing, just walk the palm of your hand.
Thank you. All right. So one other thing in terms of the solar plex, because I know within reflexology, that's the seat of our emotions. And as it relates to bone health, if too much cortisone is released, it has an impact on bone health. So can you kind of speak a little to the solar plex and how that connects with reflexology? And I'm not sure whether you know that connection in terms of the cortisone and the too much cortisone being released can have an impact on bone health.
Okay. The thing when we think of the solar plex, think about the adrenal because that's the area which I showed you was right here in the palm of your hand, this area here. So like you want to press that area there. And so what that does is that's like where you're talking about anything that's being released that's related to pain or related to chemicals that are moving throughout the body in the system. That's where you deal with like the solar plex area, or what we refer to as the adrenal gland in that area there. And so that is what helps to like kind of stimulate and regulate. Does that kind of help, Alma?
Yes. I mean,
Okay, so
I'm just sharing with folks
sure.
that there's definitely a connection, because in reflexology we call the solar plex the seat of our emotions, and
Mm-hmm.
too much stress can cause cortisone to be released in the body. I mean, the body is doing a whole lot of things that I don't know, and I would venture to say that, sometimes we take for granted and don't realize. But cortisone is one of those things. It's like the fight or flight, and
Yes.
so too much of that can be bad for the bones, but it's bad for the body just in general. But a way that you kind of minimize that or support reducing stress in the body is through the technique of the solar plex.
And that's another good point where you start talking about the fight or flight as it relates to reflexology, because what reflexology can do is no matter what state you're in, whether you're bouncing off the walls or your energy level has hit rock bottom, just by activating the nerve endings in the hands or feet is what can bring that balance that's needed. And that's one of the things that's very important. And another little tidbit that I always share, no matter what's going on with your body as it relates to your treatment, your therapy, your medication, or what you want, the body cannot heal itself until it's in a state of rest and relaxation. That has to be the foundation in order for the healing process to begin. And so that's where reflexology comes in, as being a good, I always say it's the bridge as it relates to whatever healing treatment program you are doing. Use reflexology as your bridge, because it brings it all together by calming the body down and being the message center to the brain in the healing process.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions before we move on?
Not a question, just a clarification. Am I on? Yes, I am on. A
Mhm.
clarification. Cortisone is what is injected. Cortisol
Oh,
is
thank
the thing
you.
that's released into the system, into our system, that's already a kind of more of a natural occurring.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Tilley. And I meant to say that, so I
I know, I
appreciate
always get it mixed up.
that. I appreciate that. Does everybody understand what Dr. Tilley was just sharing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
So you ready?
Yes. Okay, so as we move into this next section, which is a call to action, we can share information. I read a lot, but it really does not help until we actually start to take action. So what we've explored in terms of bone health and balance, we want to be able to benefit from these insights as it relates to our daily lives and our activities. I've been inspired by this guy, Jim Quick, who talks about the three M's: mindset, motivation, and methods. And so I think that we've covered all three of those in Jadika's presentation. So we want to move forward and share in this next section in terms of the slides what's important as it relates to bone health. So this call to action is that it's about diet, it's about movement and lifestyle. We know that food that we eat is rich in calcium, calcium-rich foods, and the adequate amount of vitamin D is very important to be able to have a balanced diet. You need to have vitamin D in order to absorb the calcium. Um, so that's very important. The exercise is also important, but exercise is a form of movement because if you exercise and then you go home and you sit, then you kind of defeat the whole purpose, or really not defeat it because you do benefit from exercising. But it's the combination of all these things, having a balanced diet, your regular exercise, focusing on weight bearing exercises that or activities that really support increasing circulation and strengthening your muscles, the constant moving and not sitting, because we know, as it was stated earlier, that the World Health Association says that sitting is very harmful to the bones. We want to be able to avoid smoking because that is one of the things that can, or a habit that can weaken the bones. Too much alcohol, this is the same kind of thing. In terms of lifestyle, we want to be able to prevent falls. And so balance is one thing, but checking out your environment, making sure that you have things in place that are not out of place in terms of clutter is another way of preventing falls, because falls is very detrimental, particularly as we age. And then, of course, monitoring our bone health. Since I've been doing this, and I was actually really surprised. My mother made her transition when when Obama was elected, and it was just too much. Surprised the other day. I didn't realize until I started listening to the DNC that it's been 16 years. And when she made her transition, I received a phone call and about, donating some of her bones, and that set me on this journey. And as a massage therapist, as a reflexologist, I didn't think about bone health that much. I really didn't. I didn't think about bone density, but it just really came to light. And so that is something that we all need to be able to understand the importance of monitoring our bone health. And it's just as important too to monitor our brain health as well. Bone health and brain health are two things that, as we age, is very important, that we are monitoring it and taking care of it, and reaching out with our medical providers to make sure that everything is okay. The next slide. So this one, oh, okay, so let's bypass this slide because this slide really should be toward the end, and I want to go to the ways to prevent falls, which is to stay physically active. Weight bearing exercises like walking, dancing, strength training. I mentioned that earlier around maintaining your bone density, and what I mean by that is the strength of your bones, right? Practicing different forms of exercise that are like isometric, like Tai Chi and yoga. Those are isometric movements that really help with improving your stability. Home safety, I've already mentioned that, and I mentioned your regular health checkups as well, where you want to also monitor your vision, your hearing, and then understanding the impact of medication. All medication has some form of impact in regards to your body, but you want to be aware of what those impacts are. And then the next slide, please. So these are lifestyle choices that impact the bones. We talked about just a few minutes ago in terms of diet. You want to be able to have a balanced diet. You really need to make sure that you're not insufficient in terms of the amount of calcium that you're getting or vitamin D, because when you don't have the adequate amount of calcium and vitamin D to absorb the calcium, it can cause weakened bones. physical activities, mentioned that. And the reason I keep repeating, or we repeat it in a different format, is really just kind of emphasizing the importance of the lifestyle choices that impact our bones: diet, the physical activity, not only in terms of exercise, but movement, smoking, alcohol consumption, weight management, and medications. Dr. Tilley, did you have something you want to add?
No, you covered it really. With the slide before, I know you had mentioned clutter, but you didn't specifically talk about, okay, so you have some home safety tips, removing tripping hazards like non-slip mats and rugs and that kind of thing. I think that's really important to emphasize, and not, because we all have a bit of clutter here and there that we might not consider a tripping hazard. So being
Yeah.
specific like that. And then you have the grab bars. I think that's important information too.
Right. The grab bars are definitely, in terms of, if you know, or just in general right now, as it relates to the aging population, with like an example of the habitat, they will come in and install grab bars for you. I know in the DC area, I'm not sure about, what's happening in other parts of the country, but I can tell you in the DC area, many of the aging programs will offer adjustments in your homes, such as grab bars, railings, on the stairs, and the comment that Dr. Tilley just made in terms of safety tips of and making sure that your lighting in your house is good, using night lights at night when you're getting up to go to the bathroom, so you don't, stumble and, have a fall, because oftentimes, if as we age, the risk of falling and that fall being detrimental is greater as we age. So thank you, Dr. Tilley, for taking us back on that slide in terms of the home safety tips.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's very
Mhm.
good slide. Mhm.
Okay. And the reason I was laughing about this, because in Jadika, I had actually changed this particular slide for it to be further, and sort of like when we wrap up. So right here, what's good for the bones? I've talked about this already in terms of activities that stress the bones. Now, there's such a thing as good stress and bad stress, right? You can stress the bones where you you may have some form of weakness or some form of pain. Distressing the bones here is not, we're not talking about stressing the bones in a bad way. We're talking about being able to create traction or stress that supports helping the bones to create additional bone cells, which is called osteoblast. The body automatically gets rid of the old cells that's damaged or no longer needed, and it creates new bone cells. And that is happening every single day. And that's based on our lifestyle, the things that we do. It's based on movement. It's based on not sitting for long periods of time. It's based on making sure that you are getting calcium rich foods. And some of the examples of like calcium, sometimes people talk about dairy, but for African Americans, we may be lactose intolerant. So you can get your calcium from vegetables, or and the darker the vegetables, the better they are. You can get calcium from sardines, So those are just some examples in terms of calcium. Someone just put in the chat sesame seeds. Yes, that's true. You can get it from different forms of nuts. Hydration, making sure that we're getting the adequate amount of water, reducing stress, and most of all, in terms of sleep. I know I've had a lot of conversations with different people about their ability, sometimes people can't sleep, but sleeping is very important, because that is during while we're asleep, the body is healing. So it's important to be able to have a combination of all these things in your lifestyle because it's good for the bones. And what's good for the bones is also good for the brain. And what's bad for the bones is sitting for long periods of time. And so I know we have been sitting for almost 45 minutes or maybe an hour for some of us. So if you want, you can stand up, just kind of stand up and then sit back down. Even breaking that activity of sitting, just being able to just stand up or push yourself up and then sit back down is a way of supporting good bone health. Sugar, salt, smoking, lack of sleep, and stress. We've mentioned that earlier, and we want to just continue to share that. And Jadika, if you can go back to that slide that I told you to skip, this slide here, I actually changed that instead of saying fall prevention steps. This is really the steps that incorporates being able to help your overall well-being, which is incorporating movement, which includes exercise, lifestyle choices, those things that you want to exclude that I just mentioned, like sugar and salt, sitting, the things that you need to include. Want to make sure you have, getting the appropriate amount of calcium, vitamin D, magnesium. It helps to improve your balance. You want to focus on your balance, and there are ways to be able to do that, enhancing your posture. Your ears are aligned to your shoulders, shoulders to the hips, hips to the knees, and knees to the ankle. Being able to improve your posture is a way also to support bone health. And that also increases your strength. And then lastly, it builds your stamina. So overall, what we've included is all of the steps that is necessary in order for you to um, have good bone health as well as good brain health. Because I'm now as a contractor with the African American Health Program, one of the things that I've been doing is community outreach around brain health, Alzheimer's, and dementia. I was at a program today speaking to 100 people in a room about Alzheimer's and dementia. And what I do know, with everything that I've read, the things that I've done for myself, including the conversations that I have had with Dr. Tilley, with Dr. Njadika, and others, what's good for the bones is also good for the brain. So, what we do to take care of ourselves overall is going to help us to live a, a good quality life. And then basically, it's not just one thing, it's a combination of things. That's why when we talk about optimum health, we're looking at lifestyle, all of the things that make up the potion of good health, all of the things that we have covered tonight. So with that, we have about 15 minutes, and we would like for you to take a survey before we do the Q&A. So the survey, Crystal just put in the chat. So if you don't mind, it's very short. We'll ask you to execute that link for us and answer those questions. We'll give you a few minutes to do that, and then we will have Q&A.
You can't open the link from the screen.
Oh,
So can you put the link in the chat?
um, I just did it from the chat. Oh, it's in the chat.
It is in the chat? Okay.
Yes. Yes. I just did it from the chat. Were you able to access it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. This is sort of a dry run for me and the team at this point. And I'm
Did
so
you find the information? Yes, very helpful.
Mhm.
What is one thing you learned today that you plan to incorporate using re reflexology to improve my balance?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you go on mute? I know that there's a way I'm supposed that I should be able to mute everyone, but I haven't figured that out yet. And actually, I wasn't even thinking about it. So I know that there are a lot of Zoom masters on this call, and I will be reaching out to all of you. So we'll give just a few more minutes to responding,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
we'll answer. Then we'll open it up to Q&A. And Laverne, I know you're on the phone. I don't know if you're still with us. We'll send the
Yeah,
link to you.
I'm here wishing I were actually able to see it. I don't know. I think I may have finally got a connection.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of good information. I'm learning a lot.
all right. Okay. So are you online viewing now, Miss Laverne?
Slowly, I believe.
I
Yes,
just,
yes,
oh,
yes.
great, great, great. And if you want to hang out for, once we end the call, if you want, what we can do is kind of share the slide with you on the reflex points. And
Thank you.
do
Thank
you
you.
have time for that? Mama Jeanette, I thought I just opened I thought I saw Mama Jeanette come in. Okay. Did everyone complete the survey?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So now, if you have questions, before we have about 10 minutes left for Q&A, and then we have just a couple of more slides in terms of resources for this information, and then we have some upcoming events we wanted to share with you as well. That shouldn't take very long, though. We want to be able to answer any questions that you may have.
We still don't see your beautiful face, Alma.
Oh, really? What's
Yep.
going
This,
on?
this whole
Oh,
time.
okay.
Yeah, there
I,
you are.
I kept hitting done and it wasn't going through, so I don't know if my survey went out.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, what we will do, we'll send the survey out to you all via email.
Thank you.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Long time.
I know. Good to see you.
I thought that was your voice.
Yeah, my New York crew. Thank you, sister, for joining.
I'm sorry I found out late.
Oh, that's fine. This is just the beginning. This is our first virtual that we've done, and we were blessed to get a grant with the Black Physicians Health Network. So
You said you said you wanted to know how to mute everybody. I think if you go to participants,
hmm
if you click on participants, you'll see an option where you can mute everybody and all of the participants.
Oh, I just see invite and copy the invite link.
Oh, maybe you on a computer or
Oh,
a
I
phone?
see it. I see it now. I see it.
Okay,
Mute all. I got it. Thank you so much.
no problem.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, guys? Any other questions?
I have a question. I understand that sometimes the calcium goes into your arteries and can cause calcification and problems in the arteries. How do you make sure that the calcium you consume gets to the bones rather than causing problems in other parts of the body?
Okay. So Dr. Tilley can you answer that for us?
I think if all other mechanisms are acting the way they should be, you can't have that much calcium, that it'll create a problem in other parts of your body. Are you speaking in terms of taking supplements? Is that the question?
Yes, as I understand, some people take so much calcium that they make a problem for themselves.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You do have to do just no more than the therapeutic dose, not get carried away with it because it can, if you overdo it, you can create a problem.
Thank you.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
and
unfortunately, it's interesting. All you hear is calcium for bones, calcium for bones, calcium for bones. And I think often we don't realize that we're getting it from our food too. As Alma was saying, supplements are not the only way, and people have made suggestions about, the greens and different other sources of calcium that sardines and those kinds of things. And so it could be overdone, so I would just say be careful in getting over the actual therapeutic dose of calcium in your body.
yeah, and as a peer educator with the American Bone Health, one of the things that I remember reading, we had a lot of different literature that was created, and for blacks, there was this whole study as to whether we needed the same amount of calcium that other ethnic groups, well, what the standard was, and they did say that you can take too much calcium, so the rule really is to get it from your food and not necessarily take it as a supplement. But if you do take it as a supplement, no more than 500 milligrams at a time.
Yeah, that would work because the minimum not minimum, but the maximum is something like 1,200 for women from 51 to 70s, 1,200 milligrams, and you don't really know how much you're getting in your food. You could be getting pretty close to that. So, we just have to be careful with the supplementation.
Okay.
Hi, Alma.
Okay. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay. Any other questions?
Hi, I don't have a question, but I have a comment. Just as general information. This is Faye, Alma.
Hey, Faye, Wanda.
Hey. Uh, one of the things that I do to try to keep up with the amount of calcium in my body is when my doctor does his blood test workup and he'll tell me what the results are. I always get a copy of the report so that I can have for my record what my calcium level is as compared to, shall we say, the general population. I guess that's what it shows on the report. And that's one of the ways that I keep up because I do take supplements of calcium uh, for my body, and thus far it's within the the range that is quoted for um, that area.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and then again what I was sharing the literature that I used to disseminate is a part of the my role as a peer educator with American Bone Health. Unfortunately, they're out of business now, but they were around for about 30 years and I was a peer educator with them. Says that you want to take if you in terms of taking the supplement, you don't want to take more than 500 milligrams at a time.
Hmm.
So that's one thing, just making sure that you're not taking too much. And then
Right.
I'm happy to hear you. Thank you for sharing the information about keeping your records because something that I did not talk about is the DEXA, which is
Hmm.
the a way of measuring what your bone health is, and it's a it has to be prescribed by your doctor, but it's a non-invasive, like an X-ray, and it tells you what your T score is.
Mm-hmm.
They have T scores and Z scores, and that's important as we age, to be able to have that test. And sometimes, and I don't know why, they don't always prescribe that for you. And I know I had most recently, someone told me, a male, they were told that they usually do not prescribe Dexas or recommend Dexas for men. And that was a surprise to me. I just did not realize that Dexas was not something that is part of your normal checkup. They say every 2 years you should definitely have a DEXA so that you know exactly where you are as it relates to your bone health.
Mm-hmm. If I may make an additional comment, I think a lot of the various type tests that we as humans need is fortunately or unfortunately determined by the physician that you have. And my husband Larry and I have been blessed to have good physicians that appear to, if you're trying to take care of yourself, then they are doubly happy to try to help you take care of yourself. So in that vein, we both have had the DEXA. And I was really surprised when he got it because, of course, as you know, he's a diabetic and lots of things go on with diabetes in regards to the body. So again, if your doctor does not recommend the DEXA, we have to be our own advocates and mention the test to them.
Yes, that's right.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I want to
Absolutely.
say also, I was under the impression that only lighter complected people had osteoporosis. And then I found out one of my cousins, who's my complexion, told me that she had osteoporosis. So we can't expect that because we have a lot of melanin in our skin that we're not going to get it. But
Oh
at
my
one time,
goodness.
that's what I was hearing, that only lighter skinned people could get osteoporosis.
Yeah, those are some of one of the myths that's out there that we
Uh-huh.
that we can't get it, and that has an influence on the way our doctors treat us if the doctors are not of the same melanin, same amount of melanin, if we can put it that way. They actually think that we can't get it. So it's very important. What I don't know who said it though. Wanda, I think Wanda Fay, I think what Ahmed called her about the lab reports, getting a copy of it for everything, keeping a record of what's going on in your body for the calcium, for your see if you're anemic, for your hemoglobin, glucose, all those things. That is very important advice. And like Alma was saying, taking calcium at 500 milligrams or less with meals. It's best absorbed with meals. If you're going to do it as a supplement, because you really are getting, I think we get much more than we think we get in terms of the food, the broccoli, the bok choy, the nuts, the yogurt, a little bit of ice cream here and there, things like that.
Just for clarification, you also said, though, that you need to take vitamin D in order to metabolize the calcium, correct? Because I always hear people talk about the calcium, but they never mention you need to take it with something
Vitamin
else,
D.
with vitamin D, to make sure that,
I care for.
yeah, your body is absorbing
Yeah,
it.
I care for.
Yeah, vitamin D is a very important vitamin regardless, but it does help. It is critical for the body to be able to absorb the calcium. So a lot of calcium supplements have the D in it, but I think you would want to be taking D kind of regardless because it has so many implications with other, even outside of the bone, as Amma, has said, what we do for our general health, it's helping our bones too. So there's no, I won't say a quick fix, just general good health, good eating, good movement, all those things make a difference in terms of our general health and our bone health. Yeah, but vitamin D is very important.
I don't know if it went through. I'm on my phone, but I put a doctor's name who's on Instagram. He calls himself the medical myth buster, Dr. Joel Burville. And you talked about a myth about the complexion and the osteoporosis.
Uh-huh.
He dispels a lot of myths that affect African American health, and I find him very interesting. He's on Instagram and he's doing a lot of work to educate our people in particular about different tests and different things where we're treated differently, which could cause problems because sometimes things are missed because the doctors think we don't have the same problems or whatever.
I don't see it on the chat in the chat.
Okay, I'm gonna switch to my computer because I think it may not have gone through. I tried twice.
Yeah,
I'll put it
it
on my
didn't it
computer.
didn't come through in terms of the chat. And
Yeah.
and just in general, one last comment about, the experience with as a peer educator with the American Bone Health. We created something around, it was sort of like a newsletter or for bone health. And oftentimes when you go to the doctor, because Blacks, we do have greater bone mass than other ethnic groups. However, because of chronic diseases, etc., um, I've met young people, particularly women, as young as 35 to 40, who have experienced, who have osteoporosis or have some form of osteopenia, which we'll talk about that maybe the next time we have the a virtual call, which is scheduled very next month. But I just wanted to let you know that we will be having more discussions about this activities, face-to-face activities, because that's one of the requirements of the grant. And we also wanted to be able to extend this beyond the Washington metropolitan area. So thus, we want to be able to bring more information to you, not on our website, as well as have more virtual calls. So with that, I just want to go to the bone health resources. We've listed the International Osteoporosis Foundation, as well as the Osteoarthritis Foundation, because osteoarthritis is something that people may be experiencing. Anytime you say osteo, that means bones, and arthritis is, in this case, osteoarthritis. The difference between osteoarthritis and osteoporosis is that osteoarthritis is pain, where osteoporosis is a silent disease. And you go to the next slide is joining. We're just encouraging you to sign up on and Bones and Balance so you can get some information. We can continue to send notifications out to you. And the Osteoporosis Foundation now is called Bone Health and Osteoporosis Foundation. They have picked up the American Bone Health. So everything American Bone Health was doing now has been absorbed into the Osteoporosis Foundation. And then, of course, the CDC is another organization. And what I forgot to add to this is NIH. NIH is another source in terms of information around bone health. And then the next slide is the upcoming events that we have happening. We have a nature walk that's scheduled for October the 11th, a in-person event, which the whole campaign with the Black Physicians Health Network is that bone health is a family affair. Why do we say that? Because what we do when we're younger actually helps us as we are aging. However, it's never too late to be able to make changes that will support improving our balance and stamina. So these are the events coming up, but the next one for bone health in terms of the virtual presentation is going to be on November the 20th. We hope that you have enjoyed our presentation this evening. We thank you for joining us. And we did get, Ahmad Damal, we did get the information about Dr. Joel Burville. and I will, you asked the question in terms of us sharing this uh, recording. Yes, we will be sending the recording out to folks as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there
Thank
any
you.
other questions before we say goodnight?
Thank you, Alma. It was really good. I appreciate all the information you shared.
Okay, thank you guys. Really appreciate you all. Love you all, and look forward to the next time. Any questions, you can always
Thank
reach out
you.
to me. Thank you so much, family.
All
Bye.
Thank
righty.
you.
Good
Thanks,
night.
Alma.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All
Have
right.
a
Thank
good
you.
night, everyone.
All right.
Yes,
Bye.
please. Be blessed and a blessing.
Thank you.
Good night.